Alright, welcome back to Project 23. So I had a minor issue. Valve cover sprung a leak and went all over my intake. So unfortunately that happened. So I'm going to get on to the main point of the video. This is just temporary. I'm running basically what would be a ram air. I have a piece of PVC that actually expands in there and it's nice and tight. As you can see, it's just a direct hole into the intake stream. Now the big thing is this hose right here that goes into it. This one. Notice what that is. It's a propane end. And I've been playing with propane injection. So the big thing I've been playing with was figuring out exactly how much fuel to how much carb. So I actually have this carburetor leaned out as far as I can. So if you try to run it without propane, it doesn't run at all. You have to be holding the throttle in order to get it to run, or the choke. But I like that because running this propane injection, because in here, this nozzle goes into that PVC pipe and it ends about right here up in the airstream, about a foot, and as it sprays, it's got a sprinkler head on it. It sprays out a mist of propane into the air, along with the nice cool air coming in through this intake right here. That air at high speed, because I only use this propane system at 30 miles an hour and up, so there's airflow going into the engine now to keep it going. Now I have a constant flow of single directional air to atomize that, to help with the atomization of that propane. And so now you get the propane that sprays in around right here, mixing with all that air, has to take this harsh turn and hit this cork wall right there. So it's all going to really mix right about here. And don't worry, that filter doesn't work. I used a liberal amount of Flex Seal around it, and it is absolutely watertight even under pressure. And so once it all mixes, it drops into the carburetor, and that's where the magic happens. And so having that propane mixed air to go into the intake runners and all that helps the fuel burn much more efficiently. I actually don't get anything out my tailpipe because I run 2-stroke oil. I run a quart per give or take 8 gallons. I run a quart, and this is my 4-inch duals that I run, and normally I'll get a little bit of smoke because, 2-stroke oil gets a little bit ashy, and so running that propane gives it such a complete burn that it runs amazingly. And don't worry, it's not going to catch fire. It's just the residue that's smoking at the moment, unfortunately. Yeah, the bolt right there stripped out, and I have to drill it out, and then I'm going to drill in to it, and then I'm going to go get my welder, stick the welding rod right into the center of the screw, click it on real fast, and then that way I can use the welding rod to basically unscrew it out. I got a replacement screw already. The system works. And then the next thing is, this is my vacuum pump I'm going to use. It's off of AMC Hornet 77. I'm going to trim a hole in my cooling right here to run a 90-degree out to the fuel box, the charcoal box right here, to this pipe, because as of right now, just for the time being, it vents out right here. So I'll have negative pressure inside the crankcase, which is going to help so much. It's important to have negative crankcase pressure because it helps the ring seal. I don't know the exact sciences behind it, but it's good for the engine. It helps it last longer, it helps it run better and get better economy. Okay, so on the topic of economy, before I ran propane, I would average about 16, 15 miles a gallon. And then once I did the propane, good morning. Once I added propane injection, it bumped it up to about 18 and a half, and that is towing. Now, empty before, with this carburetor as lean as I could, without it having issues, I probably saw about, give or take, 20-ish miles a gallon. And so, now mind you, I have a 308 rear end with the NP 435, so it's almost like I have an overdrive, but at 75 I'm cruising at 2900 RPM, 2800 RPM, so high RPMs but super lean. Now running the propane lets me lean it out all the way, and then so the propane mixing, it's its own fuel, and so at such a light amount with a small amount of fuel going into all 6 cylinders, it makes more power with this little inky-dink carburetor. And so that's good. Here's the big kicker on propane and fuel, gasoline. At 75 I'd see about 20 without it, but with it I see roughly 24, 23. And I drive about 430 miles round trip to this one town every weekend. And I've been playing with this propane injection, and I thought it was a fluke at first, but no. I've been counting the mileage. I've been exactly counting how many gallons are burned, and it actually gets about 25 miles a gallon average. Plus or minus about 3, plus about 1. In that range, so. And that's empty, and as you can see, you know, I don't carry cargo in the truck. It's empty. It's only a standard cab, and it's running 28-inch tires, so I'm happy with it. The next big thing that I do have to do is I have to bring my power steering belt back, because as you can see, the power steering sits a little forward. But other than that, thank you guys for your time. Have a good rest of your morning, or wherever you're at. If you'd like to see more on my propane injection, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe, and share it with other people. And this helps the channel. The more viewers I get, and the more ad revenue I would make, and I use that for these projects, like Project 23, the actual Ranger, which I'm going to rename to Project 27 because it's a 2.7 liter. It's not a 2.3. But that's a topic for a different video. But thank you all for joining. I really appreciate the help. And have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Yeah. Alright, later guys.